Hi guys, welcome back to The Contented Plant. Today we are going to convert some of my plants to Leca, which is a semi-hydroponic way of growing plants. Leca is little clay balls. It stands for lightweight expanded clay aggregate. And what happens is the roots will grow down into the leca. The leca actually wicks up moisture and nutrients that you add into the pot, and it keeps your plants growing happy and healthy. Leca is great for people that tend to overwater their plants. It also gives you a little more leeway on your watering schedule. If you're a person that travels a lot, this is a great way to keep your plants healthy while you're traveling. So let's get started. So the first one that I'm gonna convert to leca is actually these golden pothos cuttings. You can see it's really long and it's rooted, and that's because I've had it sitting in the back of my fish tank. So that's a really great way to propagate, and it always does really well for me. Plus the fish love swimming in and out of those little roots. So it's kind of long now, and I think it's time to pot it up into leca. So what I'm gonna do is kind of cut in between these nodes and have them individually placed into the leca. So I'm gonna use this pot. This is a self-watering pot. You can see it has these little holes on the bottom, and it goes into this container, which acts as the water reservoir. So what happens when you convert to leca, the leca needs about 2 inches or so of water sitting underneath it, and it's just going to slowly wick that water up and into the roots over time. So you do not want to plant into a pot with no drainage holes, or you're gonna have some problems. We also will need to rinse the leca occasionally, and when you have holes in the bottom, that makes it a lot easier. Otherwise, you would have to flip it over, somehow dump it out, and that would just create a big mess. So you want things that are gonna make it easy for you to rinse that leca down the road. So since this is my pot, I think I will keep larger sections intact if I can, and just probably cut the last 2 off the end here to make it all fit. Okay, so I have these smaller sections here. You can see that's a nice, healthy, beautiful root system. They love the fish tank. They always grow really well in there. And then I'm just gonna leave this larger section intact and kind of push it down into there when we put our leca balls in there. So to prepare your leca for potting up, what you're gonna need to do, you're gonna get it and it's gonna be all dusty and icky, so you're going to rinse it multiple times. It does stay really dusty, so you're probably gonna need to do that 2 or 3 times. You also need to sterilize your leca. My favorite way to do that is just to boil it for 5 minutes on the stove. And it also needs to be soaked so that when you're planting, it's already a little bit moist and it's got a nice body of water in it. Okay, so we have our pot here. I'm gonna go ahead and start filling the bottom. Okay, so I have it a little over half full, so now I'm gonna start placing the roots down in there, especially this one. It has a really long root, so you just kind of gently set it down in there and place the balls on top of those roots as gently as you can. Okay, so I'm kind of arranging these down in here. I'm trying to make it so the roots don't touch each other. On the off chance that one of them rots, we don't want that rot transferring to the other roots. So it's always a good practice to kind of keep the roots as separate as you can from one another and not overlap them. So this is of course a propagation that I'm converting to leca, which is actually fairly easy, especially since it's a water propagated pothos. So to convert water to semi-hydroponic, it's a lot simpler than taking a fully mature, established plant that's been growing in soil, because that plant will go through shock and it needs to convert its roots from soil roots into semi-hydroponic. So these are already hydroponic roots because that's how they developed. So I think this will have a much easier time. So that is all we have to do for getting these into leca. Now I have my other pot here that is the reservoir that's gonna hold the water. This water is filled up to about 4 cups, and I have a couple drops of Super Thrive in here. And you do have to add and feed fertilizer into the water so that your plants can eat, because this leca does not have any nutrients in it at all. So we are artificially adding nutrients into this medium. Okay, so I have my water down in there. This is a self-watering pot, which makes it pretty easy. It has little markers that we're going to fill it up to. It also has this water meter on top so we know when the water gets low. Okay, you just place the pot down in there, and just like that, we have our adorable golden pothos propagation converted into leca. Okay, so converting from soil to leca is a little different. You can see I have this cute little Monstera Adansonii cutting, which honestly is doing pretty bad. It's not been happy at all in soil. It's got some yellowing going on here. So I think I'm just going to ditch the soil and try and convert it to leca, and we'll see how it does. So the first thing we will need to do is remove the plant, and then we're going to wash every bit of soil off of those roots. This is a very important step. If you leave any soil on it, it will compact into the leca and rot the roots. So all of the soil must be off. This will be pretty easy for this plant because it's so teeny tiny. This is kind of the size you want to convert if you're struggling with a plant, because it's a lot easier to get all the soil off with a small plant than a really big one with established root system. So I'm gonna go rinse the roots off. Okay, so the roots are all rinsed off. You can see that the little individual guys are all hanging there free of dirt, but you can tell this plant just was not happy. The end has a little bit of yellowing, but the root system actually looks pretty healthy. So I think it's gonna do well in leca. So we'll go ahead and transfer it over. So we're gonna use a different kind of pot. Again, it's self-watering. It has a reservoir. It has this little pot with a string, and it's a wicking pot. So it's, again, gonna just wick the water up. It's really cute. It just sits just like this, and you put the water just up to the bottom, and then it wicks it up through the string. Okay, so I'm gonna gently start placing the leca balls around this root. Okay, so I have the roots covered down in there, and the stem is laid gently across the leca. So what I'm hoping is these nodes up here will start to grow roots down into the leca as well. And this little Adansonii plant will become much happier. Okay, so we have our propagations in leca and our cute little Monstera Adansonii. I will keep you guys updated on how these grow, but that is the long and short of converting to leca. Let me know if you guys want more content on leca, and we can go deeper into the specifics of the benefits and the pros and cons of growing in leca. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out. If you had any questions, you can let me know down below if you have some more questions or concerns, or tell me if you grow in leca, and I would love to know how it works out for you. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Thank you for watching at The Contented Plant. Bye-bye.